Dr. Hank, it's wonderful to meet you, sir. Thank you for taking a minute out today.
Likewise. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, Joe.
Yes, sir. So let's get into, before we get into your good work, I want to begin with this. 5 years ago, this pandemic was really, really hitting a huge high water mark. So many things were changing. How did you ultimately make it through that time? And how is living through that pandemic reverberated into your life today?
You bet. And I really appreciate what you're doing here and doing these famous interviews and to help uplift people and guide people and show them a better way. And there is a better way. And so to answer that, we should probably go back to I'm a mental scientist. And so I know that our thoughts become things. Science has proven that in 3 steps, we can have anything we want. Step one is our all powerful thought. Now, the problem with our thoughts is we have 60,000 a day, and about 80% of those thoughts are unwanted or negative thoughts. And so, no wonder why we get unwanted things and don't get it the way we want it. And it's kind of like, we say, oh, it's so bad, it can't get worse than this. And then it does, like the pandemic or whatever. And so those thoughts in step one then create energy. And that's actually our feelings. One of my 24 books I have written is Think, Feel, and Grow Rich. And it's about our feelings. And because that's the truth on what we're really thinking about. So, like people say, but oh, my thoughts, I've asked for money lots of times and I don't have enough money. So this doesn't work. Well, are you really thinking about having money? Are you thinking about the lack of money? And so if I say, can I please have money? I'm actually, my prayer, if you will, is that I'm praying I don't have enough money. And then we're given more, not enough money. And so our thoughts create energy that then create what the scientists say matter, M-A-T-T-E-R. So in the pandemic, I instantly went, this is simply what I don't want. And because of my age and whatever, they said, oh, the grandpas, whatever, and I feel like a 17-year-old kid, but they were saying, oh, and they're all dying and everything. And so I knew that I create my own experience. So I decided that I would be healthy throughout this entire time. And I was. I never got it. In fact, I haven't been sick in years. I haven't had a cold. I haven't had anything like that. And the reason why is because I'm very deliberate in my thinking. Every morning, I start my day and I bring that momentum of what I want, and I use what's called a joy shop. And I'd love to share with you and your guests this. And free, just let me know, and that I assume we'll get my contact information that and be happy to send you this joy shop. And it literally is a system in order to improve our thinking that then will improve our life. So I had a blast in the pandemic that I lived at the time in Dallas, where at one of the busiest intersections in Dallas was such a prime location. And I went like, no traffic now. This is awesome.
Yeah.
There weren't lines in the restaurants that most people didn't have Charmin and Bounty. I found a place. It actually is called Costco Business, which is not the regular Costco store. And I attracted that where I was literally sitting on a mountain of Charmin and took a picture of it. So I had a blast in the pandemic, and I traveled and traveled the world and where I could, where they would allow me to. And so I made the best of it. And I had the best time during the pandemic. So those that say, oh, the pandemic was so terrible, what you get? You will attract more feelings of terrible, if you will, whether there's a pandemic or not.
Yeah, well said. And I was thinking about that time period. It had a monopoly on us, and I didn't want to see it as wasted time in any way, shape, or form. And I remember
Yeah,
really ramping up what I was doing with my jazz show and interviewing more musicians. So I was with my
yeah,
kids, and I would put it on speaker, and they would hear these voices that were strong and confident
awesome.
and going, and it was just so good. It was like some of the best
Mm.
medicine possible, you know?
Absolutely, you bet. Yeah, it's all our vibration on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So let me ask you this. Let's get to the essence of what you do on a daily basis. I'm going to put you in
yeah,
front of a bunch of 12-year-olds. It's career day, and the
yeah,
curious kid in the back of the room is like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you
yeah.
answer?
Yeah, yeah. So first of all, I actually worked from 12-year-olds. They have their own consciousness by that time. And for 12-year-olds up to, I don't know, I guess all this guys in the 70s that I help. And because you can help anybody. And what I do to those 12-year-olds, what I do is I help you to achieve your dreams, to become your greatest possibility. That the only thing that prevents us from having anything that we want to be, do, and have our own thoughts. We're our own worst enemy. The only thing, and so I call those 80% thoughts to kind of make it easy for a 12-year-old or a 70-year-old or you're young, as I call it, that to understand it is that easier to understand is those 80% of unwanted thoughts every day. It's like 48,000 thoughts every day. That what those thoughts are is the committee. And so I'd like to have us to envision that there's a committee sitting in our head, this beautiful mahogany table that we made so powerful, okay, and these beautiful black executive chairs around this table, and there are characters in there. Fear, false evidence appearing real, fear, worry, doubt, complaining, shame, guilt, anger, and the list goes on. And the head of the committee is the judge. And it's basically judging you that you're not enough. Why didn't you say this? Why didn't you say that? And so what happens is that we start this momentum, and this committee has taken us over where we think it's real. We think like whatever we're thinking about is real. And we're listening to the outside world. And for us to have our happiness, to have a long, happy, healthy, wealthy life, it's for us to be able to realize this is an inside job. The kingdom within us, the way we think and feel, will then mold the outside world into what we want. And so and then people say, but I can't monitor 48,000 or 60,000 thoughts every day. You don't have to monitor your thoughts. And we literally have a guidance system, have had it every moment of every day of our lives, and that is our feelings. When we feel bad, it's a committee thought.
Yeah.
It's what you don't want. When you feel good, you're thinking about what you do want. I'd like to say it, if you use like the term God, the universe, whatever, that now you're thinking like God is thinking when you feel good. And so just monitor your thoughts in the moment, your feelings. And the moment that you don't feel good, stop yourself and say, hey, what am I thinking about?
Yeah.
And oh, I'm thinking about, gee, there's going to be a lot of traffic and whatever. Oh, and you simply say, this is what I don't want, and then ask and you shall receive. Ask, what do I want? And then the thoughts will start streaming in, and wow, I want smooth and easy and enjoyable travels. That I want to laugh more today. I want to smile more today. I want to have better feeling thoughts today. I want to feel better. And as you start immersing yourself in these amazing thoughts, you'll get more and more, and you'll build this momentum. So you'll be on your path, the corridor of joy, where all your dreams and desires, the doors just open wide for you, and you can live the magical life. In fact, my latest book is called Living the Magical Life.
Yeah.
And it's a way for all of us to be able to live the magical life.
So I got to know, when you were 12 years old, what was your dream job? What did you want to be?
Yeah, at the time that I was thinking that I really wanted to be. I remember when I was in maybe fifth grade, we had like this exercise in the morning where we would play kind of like dodge with each other. And I remember I was the last person to be tagged. And I said, man, this is exciting, man. I want to be able to. And it was so exciting for me that I decided that I want to feel good. And so so it wasn't really a position or anything. And I didn't have clarity of what I really wanted to do do until I kind of went through the routine of went to college. I got to Procter and Gamble, worked up was on the fast track for an executive management at Procter and Gamble, and I created a program called 2 Year Success that could tap the potential of other people and guarantee measurable results in businesses. And I left, and I left Procter and Gamble. My first client was Procter and Gamble, but I realized I wanted to. My passion was to help people become their greatest possibility. And so I've been devoted to that ever since. And I've helped thousands of people around the world be, do, and have more of what they want.
So what you're doing that's obviously proven and successful
Mm.
it's not easy when you're trying to help people get to that point. It requires a lot from you. So take me back to where you were born and raised, and what were these foundational elements that were planted into you to have this
Yeah,
positivity and strength to help people
yeah.
find a better life?
Yeah, yeah. So let me back up first and do the first part of the your question, and that was that this is really hard to do and pressure on me or whatever. See, if you say that, it's going to be hard and it's going to be pressure. I haven't worked for years. I play, and when I put that into my mind and I change the way, it changes everything. And so I love playing. Right now, I'm playing and with you and uplifting others. And I also channel from divine intelligence. So there's AI, artificial intelligence, and that's great. It gives you the history of the world and how to write things better and whatever, and it's fine. But what's even better is DI, and that's divine intelligence. And so I literally help people tap into divine intelligence and have all the perfect understanding, answers, and solutions for what they want. The second part of your question on being as a child, that and I need to have a little background on this to understand that this world has everything we want in it and everything we don't want in it. And we have to brush up against what we don't want, not enough money, an argument, and a hurt knee, whatever it is. We have to have that contrast to birth what we do want.
Yeah.
And so most people just sit in their pity party in the contrast and say, oh, this is terrible. And they Facebook about it and whatever, and are talking about it. And what happens is they start attracting more of those feelings, the way they felt on my argument or whatever. They'll attract more situations to have the same type of feeling. So it's not necessarily arguments, but it might be get fired from your job or whatever that similar feeling is. So if you will go with your higher power, though, and realize that this contrast is a blessing. So the example is when I was growing up, my father was a pilot in World War II. And he got shot down over Germany and parachuted and was in a German prison camp for 13 months. And he didn't know each day. He didn't know if he'd get shot, if he'd get fed, whatever, if he'd get punished, tortured. He didn't know what would happen. And so when General Patton and his army released him then 13 months later, and when he came home, he was determined that when he had children, he was going to grow them, bring them up as being rough and tough and be able to take something like he had to take because he wasn't prepared for it. So my father ended up being with me and my three other brothers, Hitler. I mean, literally, he would take us in the middle of Wisconsin, on top of some hill on a dirt road, and drop us off and just leave. And we didn't know what we did wrong or whatever. And it was just terrifying, that this life we had. But the contrast, what did the contrast do? It helped me. This is what I don't want. I don't want to be this way with my children. And so it helped birth. So instead of me being my pity party, oh, I had such a rough upbringing and everything, then I'll just get it rougher in the future. Instead, I went, I love my dad. And I understand now what he was trying to do. And what do I want? I want to be the best father in the world.
Yeah.
And for my three sons, to this day, I've communicated with all three this morning that I'm the best dad in the world. And they'll say so. And so I love the contrast. And when you just fall in love with the contrast and don't buy into it, just realize that it's taking us to a brighter future, then we start living the magical life.
So who's that hero been for you? Who's been that inspirational force for you to find your footing and your voice?
Yeah, yeah. So really my hero, and when I think about hero that kind of like through my life and how but what comes to mind, my greatest hero is when I was now successful with Procter and Gamble in my late 30s, and I had $1 million home and all that stuff. That I really I said there's got to be something more, and what something more at that time was church. And so, literally, my hero at that time, and still is my hero, was Christ, is Christ. Now, but there's some misunderstandings like he's my savior. Savior, to understand what I'm teaching. In essence, I really teach Christ's word, but in a better way to understand in today's age and the development in the last 2,000 years for us to understand really how life plays. And so, because Christ also said, you can do these things and even greater. And so, which means, wow, we're, a child of God that we can create it. We can be, do, and have anything that we want. And so, but what comes to my recent mind and who my hero is Archangel Michael. And I went to seminary school for 4 years because I understood with my PhD that I understood how the mind worked, but what I didn't understand was how God or this higher power, the universe, whatever you want to call it, how that played into creating the life that we want. So I went to 4 years of seminary school. And when I was being ordained, literally in this small little church with 12 really or maybe 20 really spiritual people that were attending. And when they ordained me, I felt the presence of this beautiful blue light energy and angel dust upon me. And it was Archangel Michael. And I could feel that, I heard that name. And so after my ordination and being ordained, and I'm in the church, and these 20 spiritual people come up to congratulate me. And one of them says, "Oh, it was so wonderful that that Archangel Michael was with you." And I went, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool. I'm starting to sense that which we can't see, the unseen. And yet the power, it's the energy that creates everything for us." A few people go by and, congratulate. Another person says to me, "Wow, it was great having Archangel Michael." So at that point, I started a relationship with Archangel Michael, which he is the archangel of manifestation. And so he has helped me to become a master of manifesting. And so I literally manifest all kinds of miraculous things every day, every moment. And the goal is, the prize is joy.
Yeah.
And I'm in joy. And then he introduced me, Archangel Michael, to the six other archangels, which are seven archangels that have man that has walked before us has asked for seven primary things. And God has answered, the universe has answered with this powerful energy of these seven archangels. And so when you call forth these angels, and I have some people that I, help, guide, support, and love, and don't like God or mad at God. So I don't use that word, just use loving energies. And that all you have to do is call in these loving energies, and they'll help you to better health. They'll help you to manifest more business or better relationships, be an angel of communication. All of these amazing things are here for us. All we have to do, though, is ask, because they won't come unless you ask, because we each have the freedom. And so most of us are asking for what we don't want by the committee, which in Christian terms would be called the devil. And that the good news is we can overcome the committee, those unwanted thoughts, by simply not buying in, recognizing I don't feel good, and then asking, what do I want from those thoughts? And so that's why actually the committee is a blessing, is it helps us understand the contrast too, is it's all made up in our mind.
Yeah.
Right? Like people say, "Oh, and this is terrible," and I say, "You're sounding like somebody's got a gun to your head," or something. Nobody's in there having a gun in your head, and you can, in this moment, each one of us have the power in order to feel good, and that's all you need to be on your path, the corridor of joy to everything you want.
And you lived all of this, and one of the bigger moments in your life was when you had a devastating accident, you were unable to walk. How much of
Yeah,
that has shaped and formed your mission and vision in your life today?
you bet. You bet. Let me show you a picture. Here's the car. It totaled my car and totaled my body. Another picture of the car.
Wow.
And there I am, and I'm smiling. And
Wow.
because all the contrast, I smile.
Yeah.
I was paralyzed from my waist down. The doctor said I would never walk again. And you know what I did? I said simply, this is what I don't want. I know all things are possible. And that if I just think about it, so when they'd say I can't walk, I'd say to myself, I wouldn't tell them because they try to talk me out of it. And instead, I just love that I'm going to be walking now, that I feel that. And so it was one breath after the next, 1 minute after the next, one day after the next, 1 week after the next, 1 month. But I believed. And one day I felt a little energy in my right toe. And I know whatever we focus our attention on will grow. And so I focused my attention on that energy. And one moment after one breath after that, it started moving up my leg and across my waist and down my leg. And now I do something that is just to me a miracle. And it's that I can stand up. I love turning around like that. It's like, wow, this is amazing. See, we take all these things for granted. We are just amazing. We can see, we can think, we can feel, we can hear, smell, we can channel to the divine. I mean, we are just amazing, amazing people. So, what did that do? What did that car accident do? It helped me to even increase my belief more. And people say, oh, Dr. Hank, you're a walking miracle. And I said, that's true. However, you are also a walking miracle.
Mhm.
And so that, and you know, kind of fun way because I like calling my inner child in every day too in the joy shop, and I want to have more fun, and I want to be more playful and youthful and more carefree, and so that my inner child does that. But one of the other things the car accident did, it gave me more material. In other words, to talk right now.
Yeah.
You know, what a great story, and it's a real story on how I went from being paralyzed from my waist down, permanently disabled, and I'm actually a permanently disabled veteran, and that I can walk. And you know, and there's some things like, can I walk very far? Can I, you know, I haven't ran for since that, but I don't look at what I don't want. I love just being able to walk, to stand up and to do that little circle.
So, of all of these things that you've accomplished and more importantly evolved into, what are you the proudest of?
Well, I really, the word pride, it's kind of it's mass consciousness of,
Yeah.
oh, I'm proud of you. And like, then I got to honor your opinion and stuff like that. And what I'm happiest about, though, and in fact, one of my books is called The Happiest Man in the World. and, uh, and that's what I'm happiest about, is that I have found and discovered the truth, and the truth has set me free, and that I have the ability now, and why I wrote 24 books on that, because when I transitioned back into the non-physical, and I'm still there, you can still call them, and we're eternal beings, but that, you know, and that's why most people, like if they lose their parents or grandparents, whatever, they say, oh, they're gone. And then you're right, they're gone. But if you invite them in, they'd love to guide and support you. They just don't have their bodies. They still have their mind and their spirit for all of eternity. And so the reason why I wrote those books and had programs and things like Easy Money, Easy Life it's a book, but it's also a program. Archangel Michael does a meditation on it and everything. And again, just contact me and I'll, show you how to get hold of that. And I did that because I want the world to know after I'm gone, can't that won't be doing these live interviews per se, that I want the world to know and lead back. This is my gift to them on how to be happy.
So, at the end of the day, Dr. Hank, everyone has a perception of you family, friends, clients, everyone that gets your books, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I'm the happiest man in the world. Yeah, yeah, yeah. and and not comparing to anybody else, and not saying you aren't, or that hey, I'm the happiest man in the world, and I have this innate ability to be able to channel with the divine. And it really is incredible on the things that I've helped people that have been crippled with multiple sclerosis and, barely walking with a chair to walk and go upstairs, which is incredible for them to do. I've helped people overcome cancer, people build $1 million companies. That it's really anything that we want that we can, it's just the next step on what is the next step. What do you want? That what we try to do is tell God what to do, if you will, tell the universe what to do. Our responsibility is to think about what we want and why we want it. And so that's the asking. And then the Father does the work, which means the who, when, and where. We have been taught, oh, we got to go manipulate the outside world, etc. And it's not about manipulating, it's about attracting. This is not a world of insertion where all of a sudden something comes in. This is a world of attracting, and you attract it through your thoughts and your feelings. And as you do that, and again, the Joy Shop is the fastest way in order to get there. And then you can, and again, the reason why people typically, like I guide, support, and love on a weekly basis for typically an hour, is because again I can purely channel with the divine and have the perfect answers and solutions for the next steps for them in order to have more. So I've coached, some people coach with me for years, and we just have expanded and continue to create more and more things. And because it's all fun, it's a fun journey, and you can't have a happy ending without a happy journey. And so to be happy now, and you will have a bright future.
So if anybody wants to pick up your books, they want to reach out, they have questions, you had mentioned up front that there was something you could send to people.
Yeah, the Joy Shop I could send to
The
them,
Joy
and
Shop.
so
Okay.
I asked for you to pick up the phone and call me.
Yeah.
I'm just amazed at how many people don't do it. Go ahead and do it. I'm a really nice guy. I'm angelic.
Yeah.
And so my number is 214-753-7204. And call me and let's talk. And I'll give you the Joy Shop and help you with wherever you are and whatever you need on the next step. And I'm not selling anything. I'm offering a way for you to have more of your dreams come true. And then you can also email me, drhank at drhank.biz, B-I-Z, real easy, drhank at drhank.biz. And then my YouTube channel, Dr. Hank Sites, S-E-I-T-Z, it has all kinds of amazing things with the Master Heart family, where just all of these similar-minded people came together and shared their miracles on a weekly basis, and all kinds of my teachings are on there. So jump in. Let's go and have your dreams come true.
I love it. Dr. Hank, what a wonderful, absolute, just, there's so many elements to your story that are so uplifting. We need that so much in this world. Thank you for your life. Thank you for your story. I really appreciate your time today.
Hey, Joe, thank you. And to thank all of you out there, know that everything you want is coming your way, starting right now.
I love it. Thank you.
Hello, friends. Joe Domino here. I just wanted to let you know that after 30 years or so, I have finally released my first book of poetry through the mighty Spartan Press here in Kansas City, Missouri. As the creator and host of both Neon Jazz Radio and the Famous Interviews with Joe Domino podcast, along with being a visual artist, I'm ready to embark on a new adventure and want you to be a part of it. You can get a copy online via Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and actually on the streets in Kansas City at the great Prospero's bookstore off 39th Street. You can also visit joedomino.com for links to the book, to more poetry, and everything in my world, including paintings. Thanks for all of the love and support over the years, and please dig the words.